Ever try to focus on yourself or your kids, but end up battling your own wandering mind and frustration? Been there. Today, let's dive into how we're actually supposed to approach mindfulness. And spoiler, it's not about perfection. Hey there, it's Chanel Wade Scott, perinatal therapist, mother of two. I'm back here with another reflection on all things authentic parenthood and really trying to balance these different identities and passions, but ultimately figure out a way to maintain that self-care that's important for making sense of it all. So getting right back into the reflection of Care Cultivator's journey as a perinatal therapist in private practice and a fresh mama at that time. We're gonna go back to this post that was discussing judgment and mindfulness. And that's the first time I was really able to use therapeutic work as a creative outlet. So that was very interesting. And it was also a couple of weeks before the conception of my second child, which would... What are you doing? So when we think of mindfulness as a definition, it's not about figuring out or achieving a perfect focused mind. Mindfulness is more of the act of having non-judgmental observation of your present awareness. Meditation can really help enhance mental and emotional awareness and calm and attention, and most importantly, self-compassion. But for a lot of people, myself including, it can be pretty frustrating when you find you're off track or you just can't focus, or the focus is hard to attain for longer than you unrealistically think you should be attaining it for. Why can't I do this? Oh, like this is pointless. There's no sense of trying if I can't even sit down for 30 seconds without my mind wandering about this and that. But here's the thing. Mindfulness thrives on a lack of judgment. Because when you're judging something, you're focusing on what's good and what's bad. And that pulls you from experiencing simply what is. There are so many judgments or assumptions that we have about conception, pregnancy, parenthood, and beyond. Good mothers don't take breaks, or you should be able to bond with your baby instantly. But things just hit different when you are able to sit with a thought or an emotion that comes up and call it for what it is. You're exhausted, you're physically tired, mentally drained, emotionally feeling guilt because you're sitting down for the first time in how many hours, anxious about just being everything for this baby and trying to figure out how to get baby to sleep. You're feeling shame that is just weighing you down and you feel it deep in your gut. You're having thoughts of being a horrible mother. That thought is bringing up some sadness and some fear. Okay, those are some more things we can work with, rather than that closed off judgment that you're a bad mom because you took a break and you will never, ever bond with your baby.
Fast forward today, mindfulness is something that comes up a lot in my session with parents. It is so interesting to see like the aha moment in real time when they realize how much their shoulds, I should do this, I should be doing that, really shapes and fuels their self-judgment. When they start to acknowledge it's okay to feel overwhelmed, it's okay to not be okay. This is hard and I'm doing my best. That's when the self-compassion kicks in. When you aren't mindful of that emotion for what it is, that emotion, rather than this whole overbearing truth that you are not enough as a parent. There is no room for that emotion of shame that often does not fit the facts of what shame is warranted for, but it's such a big emotion in parenthood that can overpower the opportunity or put hurdles in that opportunity for connection. The automatic behavior for shame is to hide, is to isolate. So that is going to be the opposite effect of what you want for being present and connecting to the people in your life and connecting to yourself and what you need for yourself, which is a freaking break sometimes. For me, looking back, one thing I would have wanted to remind myself as a younger parent, with one on the way, turning into two, and really going into my business while navigating taking care of two under three, would have been to have as much awareness of when my mind wanders from when I am practicing mindful self-care as much as it did, as I was reminded that I wasn't being fully present when I was interacting with my children, and I had the list of things I had to do, the mental load kind of going on, some of the anxieties going on while spending time with them. It was a lot more easier for me to recognize, hey, I am not fully present here with my kids right now. Okay, let's get back to it. But it was a lot easier for that bounce back, for that attention back to that moment of self-care to go on the back burner. And ultimately, that is going to come up and affect that present awareness I have when I am spending time with my children. If it is that much harder to flex that muscle of mindfulness and present awareness without judgment. Now, when I talk about flexing muscles, I love this analogy. You've probably heard it. You're probably like, oh, it's so corny. But honestly, your brain is the biggest muscle you have to flex. It is a muscle. And every time you lose your attention to meditating or whatever you're doing in that moment, and you bring yourself back, that is you making reps with your brain. So rather than saying, oh, I can't even sit for 30 seconds and listen to a meditation, it's that's opportunity to try again, because the more you flex that muscle along with that self-compassion while you are practicing these skills, the more efficient you are going to be the next time when it comes to bringing your awareness back to that moment. So let's try this. The next time you are sitting with your kids and you catch yourself thinking about your mental load, about the next thing to do in X, Y, and Z, and then feeling just like guilt creep up and that thought of, I'm a crappy parent. Let's reframe there. Let's look at it from a perspective of what you can observe, what you can describe, and just being fully in it. So I am observing that I am thinking about the things I have to do next week. Now I have a thought of being a crappy parent. That's bringing up an emotion of frustration, maybe some sadness. I'm really feeling that in my guts. Feeling it here in my chest. I had a thought of being a horrible parent. I am experiencing the emotion of sadness and fear. Pay attention to my breath. What do I hear? I hear the laughter of my children. What do I feel? Feeling this warm, cozy blanket that we're all under right now. Only what you can observe, what you can describe. What is reality right now? Because reality is not that you're a horrible parent that is never going to be able to connect to your kids in the way you want to. It's bringing yourself back. I invite you to explore the content on my Instagram. There are some self-compassion and mindfulness threads throughout, as well as additional tools that can be helpful as food for thought for authentic parenting. I hope this is something that may have resonated with you at this time, something that can be a helpful reminder that you aren't alone in this journey and that you're probably doing a pretty freaking good job. Until next time, keep cultivating care for you and your family.